I sit in Caleb Whitaker's law office, my black funeral dress still crisp, despite having worn it 3 days ago for Uncle Ben's service. The fabric scratches against my skin, a constant reminder of loss that mirrors the emptiness in my chest. Caleb adjusts his wire-rimmed glasses, shuffling papers with practiced precision. Sunlight filters through Venetian blinds, casting linear shadows across the polished mahogany conference table. As the sole beneficiary of Benjamin Thomas's estate, Caleb begins, his voice calm but firm. You inherit roughly $1.8 million in liquid assets, a majority stake in Arcadia Home and Living valued at $14.9 million, and the Craftsman estate, conservatively appraised at $2.2 million. I nod automatically, the figures washing over me like cold water. Uncle Ben had mentioned this day would come, but not at 26. Someday was supposed to mean decades from now. After countless Sunday dinners and Christmas mornings with the only true parent I had ever known. There are also personal items, Caleb continues, sliding a folder toward me. Your uncle's watch collection, his classic Thunderbird. The conference room door swings open without a knock. I turn, expecting Caleb's secretary. My heart halts. Grant and Nadine Thomas are in the doorway, older but unmistakable. My father's dark hair now streaked with gray. My mother's face lined but still striking in that distant way I remember from childhood. 16 years. 16 years since they left me with nothing but a hastily scrawled note. My hands begin shaking, the coffee cup rattling against its saucer, liquid sloshing close to the rim. My heartbeat becomes a drum in my ears. We heard about Benjamin's passing, Grant says, stepping forward with carefully measured sympathy. We're so sorry for your loss, honey. Honey. The word lands like a blow. My stomach twists, bile rising. The room tilts and the edges of my vision blur. I grip the table, searching for stability as childhood abandonment crashes over me. You can't be here, I whisper, barely recognizing my own voice. You left me. You chose to leave. My mother steps closer, her familiar perfume drifting across the table. Stella, sweetheart, did you know they were coming? I look at Caleb, desperate. His stunned expression answers for him. I most certainly did not, he says, rising with surprising speed for a man in his 60s. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, this is a private meeting regarding confidential estate matters. Memories flood me. Age 10, padding into the kitchen for breakfast, finding empty coffee cups and a note against the sugar bowl. Uncle Ben will take care of you. 7 words. No, I love you, no promise to return. Just a clean severing of family ties. Then another memory surfaces. The first night with Uncle Ben and Iris. Warm soup despite summer heat because Iris said it nourished the soul. Gentle hands braiding my hair before bed. Iris humming the lullaby her grandmother taught her. Uncle Ben reading Goodnight Moon even though I was too old. Because it might comfort me. Something shifts inside me. The abandoned child. Still longing for her parents, confronting the adult who knows better. My analytical mind rises through the shock. What do you want? I ask, voice steadier than I feel. My father smiles, the same way he once convinced customers to buy extended warranties. We wanted to pay our respects and see you. It's been too long, he says. I need time to process Uncle Ben's death before dealing with this, I reply, gesturing subtly between us. My first boundary feels shaky, yet it's there. Grant's smile doesn't waver, but his eyes harden. Stella, we're family. We have every right to be here. We've been waiting to reconnect, Nadine adds, her voice calm and reasonable, as if now is the perfect moment, right after Uncle Ben's death, right as I inherited everything he built. The realization hits me sharply. Everything Uncle Ben worked for, everything he left me, is now at risk. These people, strangers with familiar faces, didn't return for me. They came for what I now possess. They stand there, composed and ready, while I'm still shocked and grieving. The power imbalance is unmistakable. Mrs. Thomas, Caleb interjects, his professional demeanor restored. Perhaps we should schedule another meeting. Ms. Thomas is still processing her loss, and several estate matters need immediate attention. My parents exchange a look I recognize from childhood. The silent signal always preceding coordinated action. This timing is deliberate. They targeted me at my most vulnerable. A soft knock at the door interrupts the tension. Iris steps in, her silver-streaked hair pulled into a neat bun, fresh tissues in hand. Her eyes scan the room quickly, narrowing slightly when they meet my parents. Mrs. Stella, I brought the car around, she says, her southern accent thickening as it always does when she's concerned. You look pale, dear. I'm torn, flee with Iris or stay and confront. The business-minded side of me urges me to stand my ground, show strength. The frightened child inside me wants to run, to seek safety. Before I can decide, Iris positions herself quietly between my parents and me. Her slender frame somehow forms a protective barrier that isn't about physical size. Grant glances dismissively at Iris. Still keeping the help around, I see. Iris stiffens but remains composed. I've been part of this family for 16 years, Mr. Thomas. The emphasis on family hits me. Something solidifies in my chest, a spark of real resolve. I rise, gathering my purse along with Uncle Ben's folder. Iris's family, I say, meeting my parents' gaze for the first time. You two are strangers. The words hang in the air, simple yet powerful. I don't rush to the door but stand beside Iris, our shoulders nearly touching. A clear message. I won't face this alone. My father's expression hardens, but my mother flinches. Good, let them feel something for once. We'll be in touch, Grant says. As if wrapping up a business meeting. I'm sure you will, I reply, surprised by my steady voice. As we head toward the door, Iris's hand finds mine, giving it a quick squeeze. The silent support says what words cannot. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. On Sunday, I'm in Uncle Ben's kitchen, my kitchen now, watching a pot of coffee brew as sunlight streams through the bay windows. 3 days have passed since the ambush at Caleb's office. 3 nights of restless sleep, jumping at every passing car, wondering if they'll return. The front doorbell rings, answering my fears. I don't even need the peephole to know who's there. The coffee machine beeps, but I ignore it, moving to the door with my heart pounding. I pause, hand on the knob, taking a deep breath the way Iris taught me after childhood nightmares. When I open the door, they stand side by side, resembling an aging catalog couple. Grant in pressed khakis and a blue button-down, Nadine in a cream cardigan and tailored slacks. 16 years have passed, but their features remain unmistakable. Grant's square jaw, Nadine's delicate nose, the same features I see in the mirror every morning. You can't just show up here, I say, standing firmly in the doorway. Grant smiles. That same persuasive smile he used to convince neighbors to invest in his schemes. We just want to talk, Stella. 5 minutes, I hesitate. Caleb warned me not to make contact, but the part of me still searching for answers, the stubborn 10-year-old inside, overrules my better judgment. I step aside, allowing them into the house I grew up in without them. They follow me to the kitchen, their eyes drifting over the details, the renovated cabinets, the Viking range Uncle Ben installed last year, the artwork on the walls. They're assessing, not admiring. Coffee? I ask, more to keep my hands busy than out of courtesy. Black for me, Grant says, sitting at the kitchen table like he belongs there. Your mother takes cream and sugar. I know how Iris takes her coffee, I reply coolly. I was asking about you two. Nadine flinches but accepts the mug I hand her. This is a beautiful home, she says after a pause. Benjamin always had such refined taste. I don't answer, leaning against the counter instead of sitting at Uncle Ben's table. The same one where he once taught me algebra, ethics, and how to balance a checkbook. Grant takes a measured sip of coffee before placing a leather portfolio on the table. We've done our research. That business is worth nearly $15 million. The blunt greed in his voice shouldn't surprise me, but it does. The thin pretense of parental concern has already fallen away. I keep my tone even. Nadine opens the portfolio, revealing documents, financial statements, spreadsheets, property assessments. We just want to understand the full picture. Honey. Stop calling me honey, I snap, sharper than I mean to. What is all this? Grant slides a document toward me. A full financial analysis of your inheritance, the company, liquid assets, and real estate. I don't touch it. Where did you get this information? That's not important, Grant says. It matters to me, I interrupt. You've been gone 16 years. Now you show up 3 days after Uncle Ben's funeral with this? Nadine glances at Grant. We tried contacting Benjamin many times over the years. For money, I say as the truth clicks into place. You reached out to him for money? Neither of them denies it. He never told me, I whisper, the realization landing like a blow. Uncle Ben had protected me, shielding me from their manipulation. Grant sighs, feigning patience. Your uncle painted a very one-sided picture of us, I'm sure. He didn't have to paint anything. You left a note saying, Uncle Ben will take care of you, and disappeared. That says enough. Nadine pulls a folder from her purse, different from Grant's. There are things you don't understand, Stella, she says, sliding it across the table. I hesitate, then open it. Inside are court documents, custody papers, legal statements, financial records. My eyes stop on a number, $13,500, dated 2009. What is this? I ask, though I already know. We were in a difficult place, Nadine says softly. We needed help, and Benjamin offered to take full custody if you signed away your parental rights, I finish, my stomach twisting. You sold me for $13,000. That's not what happened, Grant insists, but his eyes won't meet mine. It's exactly what happened. I push the papers back. You signed me away for cash. Silence. Fills the kitchen except for the ticking of Uncle Ben's grandfather clock, the one he wound every Sunday, while telling me stories from his childhood. My world shifts. Uncle Ben wasn't just kind. He was protecting me. He paid them to stay away. Every opportunity he gave me was part of a shield. His sadness, those distant looks at Christmas, it all makes sense now. You planned this, I say as the realization sharpens. You waited for him to die. Grant straightens, dropping any pretense. We have problems, Stella. Serious problems. What kind of problems? I owe people. $85,000. Dangerous people, Nadine adds quietly. And I've been in treatment. The medical bills. And $45,000 in credit card debt. So you're here because you need money. 60 days, maybe less? Grant looks startled that I've caught on so fast. We're still your parents, he says, leaning forward. Family helps family. Family doesn't abandon family, I counter. And they don't sell their child, Grant's tone hardens. We'll contest the will if we have to. We have rights as your biological parents, I almost laugh. You signed those rights away for $13,000 in court. Legal details can be reinterpreted, he says darkly. We had poor representation. The threat hangs between us. They're not just desperate, they're dangerous. People with nothing to lose, willing to tear apart what little piece I have left after Uncle Ben's death. A floorboard creaks at the doorway. Iris stands there, her eyes calmly taking in the scene, the papers scattered across the table, my stiff posture and my parents' uneasy faces. I think that's enough for today, she says quietly but with authority. Grant gives her a dismissive glance. This is a family matter, Iris. Yes, it is, she replies, stepping beside me. And Stella is my family. My parents begin gathering their documents, realizing they've reached their limit for the day. At the door, Grant pauses. Think about what we said. We'll be in touch. Once they leave, Iris gently guides me to the living room couch and disappears into the kitchen. She returns with tea served in Uncle Ben's porcelain cups, the ones reserved for important occasions. You heard everything? I ask. She nods. Mr. Ben knew this day would come. He prepared for it. My phone buzzes on the table. Caleb's name flashes on the screen. Stella? He says as I answer. I've been going through some files. There's something you need to see about your parents' earlier attempts. You knew? I asked not until today. Ben kept separate records I only found after locating his personal safe deposit box key. There's a lot. Legal documents, witness statements. Iris takes my free hand. We'll handle this together, dear. Looking between Iris's steady presence and Caleb's name glowing on my phone, I realize Uncle Ben had foreseen everything. I'm not alone, and I'm not unprepared. I have Iris, who knows our family's history, and Caleb, whose legal strategy is precise. The groundwork for a long-term defense is already set. Uncle Ben didn't just leave me his money, he left me the means to protect it. Early Monday morning, I arrive at Caleb's office, clutching my leather portfolio like a shield. The polished mahogany conference table is neatly arranged with manila folders, each labeled in Uncle Ben's precise handwriting. Your uncle was meticulous, Caleb says, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses as sunlight glints off them. He slides a folder toward me. These are private investigator reports, covering 2019 through 2023. Ben hired someone to track every contact attempt your parents made. My fingertips tingle as I flip through the pages. Photos of Grant loitering near, Arcadia's flagship store, transcripts of voicemails to Ben's private line, and financial requests ranging from $5,000 to $75,000. There's more, Caleb says, opening another folder. Audio recordings. He taps his keyboard and Grant's voice fills the room. Gruffer, older, but unmistakable. Listen, Benjamin, we both know you've got the money. If you won't help your own brother, I'll make things difficult for that precious business of yours. The girl doesn't need to know about this. My stomach tightens. Play it again. Caleb does, and this time I listen closely to the background sounds, clinking glasses, muffled chatter. That's Charlie's Tavern, I whisper. Uncle Ben never went there. They must have followed him and cornered him somewhere else. Another folder contains medical emergency letters from my mother, each one more desperate than the last, claims later disproven. According to Ben's notes, this, Caleb says gently, setting another document before me, is the most critical piece. A restraining order, granted in 2021. My uncle had sought legal protection from their ongoing harassment. My eyes trace the judge's notes, repeated patterns of financial manipulation and emotional coercion. The timing, I murmur, realization dawning. They've been tracking obituary notices, waiting for the right moment to strike. Caleb nods. Ben had expected this. That's why he documented everything, to give me leverage when they inevitably appeared. For the first time since that terrible day in this very office, I feel more than fear or shock. I feel power. Real power grounded in evidence, not just raw emotion. Uncle Ben hadn't only left me his wealth, he'd left me protection. I want to meet them, I say, my voice steadier than it has been in days. But not here. At the store? Caleb asks, concern in the slight tilt of his head. They won't make a scene in public, I explain, already reaching for my phone. I want witnesses. 2 hours later, I stand in the center of Arcadia Home and Living's main showroom. Surrounded by the furniture Uncle Ben spent decades perfecting, polished oak dining tables, plush sectional sofas in warm tones, and handcrafted bedroom sets built to last generations. When Grant and Nadine enter through the front doors, several customers glance toward them. My parents are impeccably dressed. Grant in a charcoal suit that barely conceals his widening waistline. Nadine in a cream-colored dress that makes her look younger than her years. I wait until they approach. Positioning myself beside an antique desk, Ben restored himself. My fingers rest lightly on its surface, drawing strength from the connection. Thank you for coming, I say, loud enough for nearby customers to hear but without aggression. I found all of Uncle Ben's files about you. Grant's confident stride falters almost imperceptibly. A flicker of worry, maybe anger, crosses his face before his practiced smile returns. Stella? Honey, I'm not sure what you think you found. But the court orders, I interrupt, noting his eyes widen slightly. The restraining order from 2021, the documented harassment, the fake medical emergencies. Nadine steps forward, her perfume masking tension. Those were desperate times. We've changed. You can't possibly understand what we were going through. I understand perfectly, I reply, sliding a photocopied document from my portfolio. And this check stub, $13,500. That's what you took to sign away your rights to me. The color drains from Nadine's face. Nearby shoppers pause, clearly listening now. You don't understand the context, Grant whispers urgently. We had debts, people threatening us. And I was worth $13,000. I keep my voice calm and professional. This is now a business matter, not a family reunion. That was the price you placed on your daughter. For the first time, I see something genuine in my mother's eyes, shame or regret. Grant's jaw tightens as he glances around, noticing the store staff positioned within earshot. We should discuss this privately, he insists, reaching for my arm. I step back. There's nothing to discuss. Court records are clear. You have no claim to me or anything Uncle Ben left. We're still your parents, Nadine says, her voice cracking slightly. Biology isn't family, I respond. Uncle Ben taught me that. Grant's face hardens. This isn't over, Stella. Actually, it is, for today. I gesture toward the exit. Please don't return. You're not welcome here. They hesitate, unprepared for my resolve. Grant looks like he wants to argue further, but the public setting strips him of advantage. With a final glare, he steers Nadine toward the door. I remain still until the glass doors close behind them. Only then do my hands tremble slightly, the adrenaline fading. Sarah, our store manager, approaches with a proud smile. Your uncle always said you were stronger than you knew. Other employees drift over, offering supportive words. Even the middle-aged couple who witnessed the confrontation shakes my hand. "That took courage," the woman says. "Ben would have been proud." Outside in the parking lot, Iris waits by her modest blue sedan, eyes scanning my face. "They're gone," I assure her. "For now," her smile spreads slowly. "He would be so proud, Miss Stella. So very proud." My phone buzzes with a text from Caleb. The court records are ironclad. "You did well today." Standing in the sunlight, surrounded by Uncle Ben's business and the people who genuinely care, I feel a mix of triumph and caution. The victory is sweet but incomplete. Grant's words echo, "This isn't over. I know better than to underestimate their desperation." They've had years to plan, waiting for the perfect moment. Today, I pushed back effectively, but their retreat feels too easy, too temporary. The question now is whether to act immediately or prepare more thoroughly for the inevitable next move. Uncle Ben always preached patience in negotiations. Rushing reveals weakness. As Iris drives us home, I stare at the familiar streets Uncle Ben loved. For the first time since his death, I feel a sense of control. Not erasing grief, but making it bearable. "Iris," I say quietly, "we need to be ready for something bigger." She nods, understanding. Uncle Ben's files may hold more. The chess game has just begun. I've won the first exchange, but the real test is ahead. I spread Uncle Ben's documents across Caleb's conference table, organizing them meticulously. 3 days have passed since the confrontation. 3 days of strategic thinking, replacing the raw triumph I felt when watching them retreat. "These are all potential legal challenges they might attempt," Caleb says, sliding a folder toward me. "Your uncle anticipated most of them." I nod, studying the papers with the same intensity I give to quarterly profit reviews. The victory at the store satisfied something primal in me. But Uncle Ben taught me better. He'd drill the lesson into me during our Sunday business lunches. "Stella, never confuse a single battle with the entire war," I say, tapping a document that outlines Ben's mental state during his final year. They might try to claim undue influence, but he wasn't incompetent when he named me as his heir. Caleb offers a faint smile. "And we have 6 months of medical records proving just that," he replies. I've converted his conference room into a strategic command center. Documents are methodically arranged across the polished table, flanked by yellow legal pads filled with my notes. Coffee cups are placed at strategic intervals, like sentinels. This isn't emotional anymore, it's strictly business. Uncle Ben never acted without complete information. I murmur to myself more than to Caleb. I won't either. My phone buzzes with a message from Iris. "Miss Stella, they drove past the house again. 3rd time today?" A cold sensation settles in my stomach. The triumph from our earlier store confrontation feels distant, replaced by careful preparation. "They're not just desperate, they're determined," I tell Caleb, showing him the text. "We need to record everything. Every drive-by, every attempt to contact, anyone they speak to regarding me or the business." Caleb reaches for his legal pad. "I'll draft a cease and desist. It may not stop them, but it establishes a pattern of harassment if needed later." I turn to Ben's business journals, analyzing his methods for dealing with hostile competition. He faced 3 takeover attempts in his career, handling each with the same calm precision he once showed while braiding my hair the night my parents left. His approach was never emotional, it was always strategic and prepared. "They'll look for weaknesses in the company," I say, reviewing incorporation documents. "Areas where they might allege mismanagement or financial misconduct. That's why the full audit is already underway." Caleb responds. "The emptiness I've felt since Uncle Ben's passing has transformed into a focused determination. Protecting my inheritance is no longer just about assets. It's about honoring the methodical way Ben safeguarded me for 16 years. Later, Iris arrives, placing a file folder carefully on the table, her fingers lingering on the edges. "I kept track of things," she says quietly. "Phone calls during Mr. Ben's illness. Visitors who never entered. Thought you might need it." Inside, meticulous notes record dates, times, and details of cars that drove slowly past the house during Ben's final months. "They were watching him die," I whisper, the weight of the realization hitting hard. Iris nods, her expression firm. "I believe it was your parents." I call Sarah at the main store. "Document any inquiries from my parents about inventory, staffing, finances. Ask other managers to do the same. It's already happening, Sarah responds. Your father was here yesterday asking about our supply chain. Claimed curiosity about the family business. A chill runs through me. They're more thorough than I anticipated. Document everything, but maintain only basic courtesy, I instruct. By evening, we've established a network of observers, store managers, warehouse staff, even delivery drivers, all monitoring my parents' inquiries. No confrontation, just careful documentation. I'm reviewing warehouse security footage when Caleb's phone rings. His expression darkens. They've hired Martin Keene, he says after hanging up, the name heavy with significance. My stomach drops. The attorney who sued Uncle Ben's company in 2018? Yes, he knows every legal vulnerability. Your parents have prepared well, Stella. I lean back, processing this new threat. They're not reckless. They're calculated and informed. They're smarter than I gave them credit for, I murmur. Caleb stacks the documents neatly. Intelligence without integrity can still be overcome. I nod, returning to Uncle Ben's journals. My early victory at the store feels minor, a preliminary skirmish. But Uncle Ben prepared for this, and now I will too. I adjust my glasses, scrutinizing the paperwork spread across Caleb's table. 4 days of planning have transformed the space into a war room. Yellow legal pads sit beside color-coded folders, and a whiteboard charts a timeline of my parents' previous attempts to contact Uncle Ben, each incident documented with dates and outcomes. The no contest clause is ironclad, Caleb says, sliding another document toward me. His silver hair catches the afternoon light. Anyone contesting the will automatically forfeits any inheritance. Your uncle made that very clear. I nod, tracing my finger along the paragraph in question. The wording feels unmistakably Uncle Ben, precise, deliberate, leaving nothing to chance. What about the litigation trust? Fully funded and operational. Caleb removes his glasses, polishing them carefully with a handkerchief. Ben had ensured it had enough capital to sustain a 5-year legal battle if necessary. My stomach tightens, not from fear, but from the weight of what's at stake. I think of Uncle Ben, how he would approach this methodically, thoroughly, leaving nothing to chance. This isn't about a quick win like the confrontation at the store. This is about securing everything he built, everything he entrusted to me. Miss Stella? Iris appears in the doorway, clutching a leather portfolio to her chest. Her silver-streaked hair is neatly pulled back, every strand in place despite the intensity of our preparations. I've gathered statements from all of Mr. Ben's caregivers during his illness. Every nurse, doctor, and therapist confirmed his mental clarity right up until the end. Thank you, Iris. I take the portfolio, adding it to our growing collection of documentation. Any word from the store managers? All financial records secured, just as you requested. Mr. Johnson called to confirm the business stability reports are ready whenever you need them. I exhale slowly, mentally checking off another item. We're not winning anything yet, just positioning our pieces carefully. The store confrontation was satisfying, but only a skirmish. What we're preparing for now is a full battle. Are we approaching this as Ben would have wanted? Caleb remarks, his voice carrying a hint of approval. We are building a comprehensive defense before they can strike. Iris fidgets with the edge of her cardigan, a nervous habit I rarely see. Something's bothering you. Iris, what is it? She hesitates, then steps fully into the room. I was reviewing Mr. Ben's will again, and I noticed something I hadn't before. He named me as the backup executor, in case anything should happen to you. The revelation hits me hard. Not because Uncle Ben trusting Iris is surprising, it makes perfect sense, but because of what it means now. If my parents are targeting me and my inheritance, they might target Iris too. Caleb, does this put Iris at risk? My voice sharpens with concern. He frowns thoughtfully. It could. If they're examining Ben's estate planning, they'll see her role. They might try to discredit her or claim she influenced Ben's decisions. A cold feeling spreads through me. This isn't just about my inheritance anymore. It's about protecting someone I love, someone who has been more like a mother than Nadine ever was. We need to expand our strategy, I say, standing and pacing the conference table. Not just protecting the estate, but protecting Iris too. I don't want to be any trouble, Miss Stella, Iris protests gently. You're not trouble, I respond firmly. You're family. We protect family. The conviction in my voice surprises even me. 7 days ago, I was a shaking mess in this room. Now I'm thinking of others beyond myself. Uncle Ben would be proud. My sources say your parents have been asking questions about all of Ben's relationships, Caleb interjects. Checking his phone, including on long-term employees, my mind races. Do I tell Iris everything, adding to her worry? Or do I shield her, handling it myself? Another test of my growing leadership. For the next 2 hours, we adjust our preparation, extending protection to Iris as well. Caleb drafts affidavits from former employees attesting to her professional relationship with Uncle Ben. I gather employee reviews showing her consistent performance over 16 years. Each document becomes another brick in the wall we're building, not just around me, but around everyone I care about. By evening, the conference table holds the full scope of our defense. Financial records, witness statements, legal precedents, historical documentation, organized and ready. Caleb reviews the checklist, then looks up with quiet confidence. We're as ready as we can be. It's time. I glance at Iris, standing by the window as the sunset paints the Seattle skyline in gold and orange. She meets my gaze with steady eyes that have witnessed 16 years of family history. Mr. Ben's plan is solid, she says softly. You have everything you need. Looking at the documentation Uncle Ben's foresight made real, I feel calm. The frightened woman from a week ago has transformed into someone strategic, prepared, ready to protect what matters. Tomorrow brings the confrontation we've been preparing for, but tonight, surrounded by our work. I know we're ready. The certified letter arrives Wednesday morning, its official stamp glaring from the kitchen counter. My fingers tremble slightly as I slide my thumb under the flap, tearing it open with a sound too loud in the quiet kitchen. Court summons, I announce, voice steadier than I feel. They're contesting the will. Iris's spoon clatters against her coffee cup. After everything? I scan the dense legal language, stomach tightening. They're claiming undue influence, asserting Uncle Ben wasn't of sound mind when he changed his will. The words taste like acid in my mouth. They've filed for a temporary injunction to freeze all assets, including the business, while the case proceeds. My hands shake as I hold the papers. This isn't just about money anymore. They want everything. The house. The company. Uncle Ben's legacy. My whole life. Who's representing them? Iris asks, leaning over my shoulder. Martin Keene, I say. The name feels bitter. Uncle Ben's old legal rival. The same attorney who tried to sue Arcadia 3 years ago over a supplier dispute. This is no coincidence. The phone rings. Caleb's name flashes on the screen. He's already heard. They've been planning this for weeks, he says without preamble. Filed it before Judge Harmon. She's known for being cautious with estate matters. What are our chances? I ask, pacing the kitchen floor. Better than theirs, he says, but it'll get messy. They've done their homework, Stella. The emergency hearing is Friday morning. Friday. Less than 48 hours to prepare. The room tilts slightly as I grip the counter. They can't win, I whisper. No, Caleb replies, but they can drag it out for months. During that time, business operations could be restricted. That's their plan. To pressure you into settling rather than risk Arcadia's stability. After hanging up, I stare through the kitchen window at the garden Uncle Ben tended every spring. The azaleas he planted the year I graduated are in bloom, their vivid pinks mocking the chill spreading through my chest. They've been watching us, I tell Iris quietly, waiting for the right moment. The doorbell rings. Through the side glass, I see a news van parked outside. A reporter stands on the porch, microphone ready. Perfect. I open the door before she can ring again. Miss Thomas? Her smile is polite, practiced. Catherine Ward, Kiro News. We're covering the Thomas estate dispute. Would you care to comment on your parents' concerns about your ability to manage the business during this time of loss? My stomach sinks. They've gone public. No comment, I say, shutting the door firmly. My phone buzzes. A text from Sarah at the Bellevue store. Reporters here asking staff about you. What should we say? Another message follows, from our operations manager. 2 customers canceled large orders this morning. Said they heard Arcadia might be changing ownership. I rest my forehead against the door. Grant and Nadine aren't just fighting over assets. They're deliberately attacking customer confidence. Undermining Arcadia's reputation under my leadership. They've launched a PR campaign, I tell Iris, showing her the messages. They're posing as worried parents concerned about their grieving daughter's judgment. That's awful, Iris whispers, her gentle face hardening. It's strategic, I reply, walking toward Uncle Ben's study. And it's working. For the next 4 hours, I'm on the phone with Caleb, setting up our counterplan. His paralegal drops off a folder packed with documents, the adoption papers Uncle Ben prepared years ago but never filed, court records of my parents' harassment, and investigative reports detailing their financial issues. By evening, my dining room looks like a command center. Legal briefs cover every surface. Store managers have joined us, armed with sales data and employee statements about Uncle Ben's confidence in my leadership. They're good, Caleb admits, scanning Grant and Nadine's filing. They're avoiding any sign of greed. Instead, they claim they're protecting Ben's legacy. Manipulative, but convincing. Some neighbors are starting to believe them, Iris adds quietly. Margaret Wilson asked today if you're really ready for this responsibility. The betrayal stings. Margaret has known me since childhood. We need to outthink them, I say, steadying my voice. They've planned this for months, maybe years. We have 41 hours until the hearing. I assign roles calmly, surprising even myself. Sarah, coordinate employee testimonials. Caleb, compile evidence showing Uncle Ben's intent to leave me the business. Iris, contact Ben's doctors to verify his mental clarity. What about you? Caleb asks. I'm going to study every case Martin Keene has handled, I say. They'll try to portray me as unstable and inexperienced. I'll be ready. As midnight approaches, only Iris remains, organizing witness files into neat, color-coded folders. You should rest, she says softly. So should you, I answer, though neither of us moves. The stakes are too high. Do you think we can win? I finally ask. Iris looks up, eyes fierce despite her exhaustion. They might have planned this for years, but Ben prepared for this long before they did. He knew exactly who they were and what they'd try. She places her hand over mine. On Friday, she says firmly, we show them what family truly means. The phone rings again. Caleb's number. The judge called the hearing forward without greeting. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Martin had filed for emergency consideration, claiming urgent business matters demanded immediate resolution. My heart races. Could she really do that? She can, and she did. Less than 12 hours remain, Stella. I hang up, meeting Iris's anxious gaze. Tomorrow morning, I tell her, I say. They've accelerated the timeline. They want to catch us off guard, she responds, already gathering the most critical documents. I nod, squaring my shoulders as resolve hardens inside me. This isn't panic, it's determination. Call everyone. Tell them to bring whatever they have, finished or not. We'll work through the night. As Iris makes calls, I step into Uncle Ben's study, standing before his portrait. His gentle eyes seem to pierce right through me. I won't let them take what you built, I whisper. I promise. The grandfather clock chimes once, marking the first hour of what will be the longest night of my life. By sunrise, I'll either be ready to defend everything Uncle Ben entrusted to me, or I'll have failed entirely. There's no middle ground. Tomorrow, I either keep it all or lose everything. I sit rigidly on the courthouse's hard oak bench, black blazer buttoned tight like armor. The clock on the paneled wall reads 9:03 a.m. beside me. Iris fidgets with her handkerchief, the embroidered corner rubbing between her fingers. Caleb arranges papers with meticulous precision on the table. Across the aisle, my parents sit with their attorney, Martin Keene, the same man who once sued Uncle Ben's company, now representing the people who abandoned me. Grant wears a charcoal suit, expensive and tailored. Nadine opts for a conservative navy dress, hair swept into a maternal bun that twists my stomach. They present themselves as concerned parents, not opportunists. The bailiff's voice cuts through the murmurs. All rise. The Honorable Judge Eleanor Richardson presiding. The judge enters, silver hair tightly pulled back, reading glasses on her nose. Her eyes sweep the courtroom with practiced neutrality as she takes her seat. Be seated. We're here for emergency proceedings regarding the contested estate of Benjamin Thomas. She glances at the files before her. I understand this is urgent. Mr. Keene, you may present your case. Martin Keene rises, buttoning his suit jacket. Smile polished and practiced, like a game show host. Thank you. Your Honor, we represent Grant and Nadine Thomas, the aunt and uncle of Stella Thomas, who have serious concerns about the disposition of Benjamin Thomas's estate. The deliberate phrasing, aunt and uncle, Makes my fingers curl under the table. Caleb notices, giving a subtle shake of his head. Stay calm. Let them show their hand first. Benjamin Thomas's death was sudden and unexpected, Keene continues. He suffered from hypertension and had experienced minor cardiac events in preceding months. During this vulnerable period, his niece, Miss Thomas, who lived with him and relied on him financially, could have exerted undue influence. The accusation hangs in the air. My heart pounds, but my expression stays neutral, just as Caleb and I practiced. We have documented precedent in Carmichael versus Westbrook, where a caregiver relationship created presumptive undue influence. Keene slides a stack of case law to the court clerk. We believe similar circumstances exist here and request temporary injunctive relief, freezing the estate assets until a full hearing can determine if Benjamin Thomas was of sound mind and free from coercion when naming Miss Thomas the sole beneficiary. My father leans forward, face a mask of concern. We only want what's best for our niece and for my brother's legacy. Benjamin built that business from nothing. If he wasn't thinking clearly at the end, decisions might have been made he wouldn't have wanted. The judge turns to Caleb. Mr. Whitaker, your response? Caleb rises deliberately, courtroom timing precise, like Uncle Ben always said. Your Honor, this is not a case of undue influence. It is a calculated attempt at harassment disguised as family concern. He lifts a thick binder from our table. I've been Benjamin Thomas's attorney and friend for 30 years. I drafted his will, which has remained largely unchanged since Stella was 12, 2 years after her parents abandoned her. The word abandoned strikes like a thunderclap, drawing attention from the gallery. I have notarized documents showing Grant and Nadine Thomas legally relinquished parental rights in 2009 for $13,500, Caleb continues, sliding the papers toward the judge. They had no meaningful contact with Stella until 3 days after Benjamin's death, appearing only at the will reading. The judge's eyebrows lift as she examines the document. Mr. Keene, were you aware of this legal relinquishment of parental rights? Martin Keene's confident smile falters slightly for the first time. Your Honor, my clients have openly acknowledged past mistakes. People grow and change. Their concern now is sincere, Caleb continues. Your Honor, I also have court records showing that Benjamin Thomas had to seek protection against Grant and Nadine, who repeatedly attempted to extort money from him between 2019 and 2023. He presents another file. These records include transcripts of threatening phone calls in which Grant Thomas explicitly mentioned causing issues for Arcadia Home and Living if his financial demands were not met. Also included is the restraining order issued in 2021. Whispers ripple through the gallery. Judge Richardson taps her gavel once, restoring silence. Additionally, Caleb says, I have an audio recording for the court's review. He signals the clerk, who sets up a small speaker. Grant's voice fills the room, tinny but unmistakable. Ben, you've got $15 million tied up in that business. What's $50,000 to you? If you don't help your own brother, I'll need to explore other options. Stella's doing well at the company, right? It would be unfortunate if something disrupted that. Nadine pales. Grant stares straight ahead, jaw tight. This recording dates back 14 months, Caleb explains. This was when Benjamin was in full health, long before any cardiac concerns. Benjamin meticulously documented each contact attempt, anticipating this moment. The judge turns to Iris. Miss Pruitt, you were Mr. Thomas's housekeeper for 16 years, correct? Iris stands, her voice steady despite trembling hands. Yes, Your Honor. I cared for Mr. Ben's household and helped raise Stella after her parents passed. And from your observations, what was Mr. Thomas's mental state in his final months? Clear and sharp to the end, Your Honor. He managed the business daily, reviewed financials every Friday with Stella, and could recall inventory numbers from memory. He was planning the spring collection the day before he died, and his relationship with his niece? Iris softens. Mr. Ben loved her as if she were his own daughter. He took pride in her growth and her instincts for the business, often saying she had better judgment than he did. They shared Sunday dinners weekly, no matter how busy the company was. Next, 3 store managers testify on Ben's mental clarity and his frequent pride in my contributions. Sarah from the flagship store recounts Ben telling customers, "My niece chose that line herself." She understands what people want in their homes. Throughout, my parents maintain composed expressions, though Nadine grips her purse tightly. Grant leans in to whisper to Martin Keene, who grows increasingly uneasy. After all testimony concludes, Judge Richardson removes her glasses and surveys the courtroom. I've seen enough to rule on the emergency petition. The request for injunctive relief is denied. She turns her gaze to my parents. Moreover, I find the timing and nature of this petition highly questionable. The will contains a no contest clause enforceable under state law. By pursuing this action, the petitioners have triggered that clause and forfeited any claim they may have had. Relief washes over me. Iris squeezes my hand firmly. Additionally, the judge states, petitioners are responsible for all legal costs from this emergency hearing. She peers over her glasses at my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, this court will not tolerate harassment or attempted extortion. Based on today's evidence, I am issuing a restraining order prohibiting you from approaching within 1,000 feet of Stella Thomas, her residence, or any Arcadia home and living property. Grant's composure breaks. His face reddens, a vein throbbing at his temple. This is outrageous, he begins, but Martin Keene places a steadying hand on his arm. Any future contact violating this order will result in contempt charges, Judge Richardson warns. This case is dismissed. The gavel strikes with finality. People rise around us, several observers nod in approval. The deputy hands restraining order paperwork to my parents. Grant's shoulders slump as he signs, his confidence gone. It's over, Caleb says quietly. They have no further legal recourse? Iris dabs at her eyes with a handkerchief. He's watching over you, dear. Mr. Ben planned everything. I watch my parents gather their things, defeated. Nadine glances back once, expression unreadable, before they exit. 16 years of documentation paid off, Caleb notes, patting the legal files. Ben knew exactly what he was doing. As we step into the sunlight outside the courthouse, I feel lighter than I have since Uncle Ben passed. The inheritance is secure, the business is safe. Most importantly, the truth about family, real family, has been publicly affirmed. Iris links her arm through mine as we descend the steps. What are you thinking, Miss Stella? I touch Uncle Ben's watch on my wrist, feeling its steady tick. I'm thinking loyalty isn't defined by blood, but by showing up, day after day, year after year. A small crowd of store employees waits at the bottom of the steps, applauding as we approach. In their faces, I see the community Uncle Ben built, the true legacy he left. I am no longer just the grieving niece. I am the guardian of everything he valued, the business, the people, and the family he chose. My shoulders lift under the weight and honor of carrying his legacy forward. For the first time since his passing, I feel certain I am capable of the task. I stand at the podium, fingertips lightly grazing the polished wood, scanning the crowd before me. 6 months have passed since the courtroom victory, yet the transformation still surprises me. Arcadia Home and Living was founded on a simple principle. I speak into the microphone, my voice steady where it might once have wavered. Quality matters in our products, our service, and above all, in our relationships. The Seattle Business Journal's annual award ceremony hums with quiet energy. 300 of the city's most influential business leaders fill the ballroom, and not a single one makes me question myself. The Crystal Community Leadership Award beside me gleams, a tangible piece of Ben's legacy. In the front row, Iris beams, her silver-streaked hair styled elegantly for the occasion. Beside her, Caleb adjusts his glasses and nods subtly in approval. My true family, chosen rather than given. My uncle taught me that integrity in business mirrors integrity in life. I continue. When Arcadia opens its Tacoma location next month, we'll bring that same dedication to a new community. The chaotic days after my parents' return feel distant now. The newspaper clippings about the court case sit in my office drawer, not as reminders of pain, but as symbols of strength. Headlines like local business wins, decisive victory validate what Ben always told me. Truth, when carefully prepared and presented, eventually prevails. My parents left town within 48 hours of the judge's ruling. Their threats proved as hollow as their promises 16 years ago. The restraining order remains active across a 100-mile radius, though it has never been needed. People who abandon a child for money rarely have the courage to face consequences. The Benjamin Thomas Foundation officially launches next week. I announce it, warmth spreading through me at the murmurs of approval. Its mission is simple: support those rebuilding their lives after family betrayal. Sometimes the family that truly matters is the one you choose. From the corner of my eye, I spot Margaret Wilson, our newest store manager, dabbing at her tears. 3 weeks ago, she stood in my office, trembling like I once did in Caleb's conference room. explaining how her brother pressured her to share our upcoming product line with competitors. The parallel is not lost on me. I told her then that people facing impossible family pressures deserve more than sympathy. They deserve protection. Caleb drafted a cease and desist that same day. Iris took Margaret for coffee and shared stories of Ben's firm boundaries. Security strengthened protocols to safeguard our designs. Supporting her systematically felt worlds apart from my own panicked response months before. Sleep comes easily now. Morning coffee on the porch is a quiet celebration rather than a tense vigil. The business thrives, revenue up 23%, employee satisfaction at record levels. Yet these metrics pale in comparison to my internal transformation. I no longer question whether I am worthy of Ben's legacy. I know I am. The foundation has already helped 3 individuals defend their boundaries successfully. I continue speaking. These are ordinary people like our employees, who face impossible choices between loyalty and self-protection. In the audience, Thomas Reynolds nods appreciatively. As our youngest department manager, he benefited from the foundation's legal support when his parents tried accessing his new investment accounts. The relief on his face when I promised company resources still warms me. Iris Pruitt will serve as the foundation's program director, I announce, watching her straighten with pride. Her official role as state manager and family advisory board member formalizes what she has always been, the heart of our unconventional family. No one understands better how to help people find chosen families. After the ceremony, Caleb approaches with champagne flutes. His retainer has been extended, making him our permanent legal advisor. Another anchor in the storm. Ben would be proud, he says simply. He prepared me for this, I reply. I just didn't realize it at the time. The business center buzzes around us. Yet my thoughts drift to that first night after my parents left. Iris braiding my hair, Ben reading Goodnight Moon. They chose me before I could choose them. Now I honor that choice daily. Back at the estate, I slip off my heels and enter Ben's old study. My study now. Expansion plans for Arcadia's 3rd location cover the desk. Decisions that once paralyzed me now energize me. No second guessing, no fear of failure, just clarity and decisive action. The phone rings. It's the foundation's first scholarship recipient, calling to share she has completed her business degree. Another life rebuilt, another circle closed. Uncle Ben taught me love is a choice we make every day. I tell her, the truth settling in my bones. Sometimes the hardest part is believing we deserve to make that choice. As I hang up, I catch my reflection in the window. I have become the leader Ben always saw in me. The abandoned child is still within me, but she no longer drives my decisions. She informs my compassion. The evening breeze carries Iris's garden scent through the open window. Tomorrow brings board meetings, foundation work, and preparations for the Tacoma store. But tonight, in this quiet moment, I acknowledge the journey. When people reveal who they are, believe them, and then choose who deserves your loyalty. A lesson I didn't want to learn twice, but one I will never forget. Family is not defined by blood, it's defined by shared values. Ben knew that. Now so do I.